So we got some brand new Zephyrus stuff in front of me, some new gaming laptops, 14 and 16, and two completely different looks and two completely different configurations in terms of the chip that's inside. First, we have this specialized packaging here. So we have this kind of acrylic top and then this nice texture to the bottom part of it as well. ROG Zephyrus G14 and 16. This is the 14 inside this packaging here. Limited edition for Unbox Therapy. We lift up the first portion and they've got this nice little booklet here describing some of the design characteristics, some of the inspiration, also the timeline of the Zephyrus lineup. Like you can see, we go back, we've got 2020 up to 2023. You can see some of the various drawings, kind of concept art, CNC unibody design. And here we get our first glimpse at the latest with this light bar on the back. And then some of the things they were able to accomplish. Built to balance top tier ROG performance with portability. And here you can see some of the manufacturing process, different perforations and the unibody. And again, inspirations. And I mean, that's a nice look right there. Okay, so let's just move past that. Here is our device. Once again, this is the G14, and look at how sleek that is for an RTX capable gaming laptop. And I think they found a pretty nice balance here for portability, understated design, but still something special, still something capable. You look at it and you see this light bar and you go, okay, that's not a typical laptop, but at the same time, it's not overwhelming. So you can configure this to do a couple of different things. Light up, obviously. We do see Republic of Gamers down here, but it's not like an overwhelming amount of branding. As we look around the side, we've got micro SD, USB-A, USB-C. This is also DisplayPort. And then over here, we have proprietary DC in for power, full-size HDMI port, Thunderbolt, another USB-A, and then we have our analog audio jack. Now, if we lift the lid, the incredibly thin lid on here, this is what the deck looks like. I mean, again, I just like how minimalist and simple it is. We have this edge-to-edge trackpad. That's one of the bigger trackpads I've seen. I know it gets even bigger on the 16-inch model. Power switch up top. We have our dedicated audio buttons, also separated from the main keyboard deck. Nothing mushy going on here, just satisfying, tactile. You can see the amount of key travel you're getting there, but like very little flex, if any. Obviously, the keyboard is backlit and we're gonna have RGB there. So depending to what extent you wanna show off the gamer aspect of this laptop, you can do so utilizing RGB. Now, when it comes to power and specifications, so we do have to have a bit of a beast for the power brick, and the reason for that is because we've got an RTX graphics card in there and we want to get some of those impressive frame rates. Pretty beefy 180 watt power adapter. Now, you could charge this up over the Type-C port at 100 watts, but just keep in mind for maximum performance, you'll use the 180 watt, and then when you jump up to the 16-inch model, you've actually got a 240 watt power brick. For CPU, you can configure up to AMD R9 8945HS, GPU up to RTX 4070. You've got up to 32 gigs of LPDDR5X memory, a 3K OLED 120 Hz 500 nit peak brightness under HDR circumstances display with NVIDIA G-Sync support. So this model has a 1 terabyte SSD. Different configurations are available. And that whole deal is coming in around 1.5 kilograms. A very surprising figure for something with this spec sheet. And it's all put together in this unibody package for something that feels strong. Now let's do a quick comparison with the 16-inch model, which I have in a different color. Now this one, unlike the other, is retail packaging. So this is what you're gonna see if you pick one of these up. And in the darker color, I would say it's even more subdued in terms of like attention grabbing aspects. Like this could go into the executive space and then double up as that gaming laptop. Just a little bit more covert, a little bit more stealth. So this is black, but you can still see that sort of metallic sheen. And once again, we have our light bar, this time obviously a little bit larger because it's on this 16-inch display. Here we get a full-size SD card slot, USB-A, and then a Type-C. And then on the other side, our power port, HDMI, Thunderbolt, USB-A, and analog audio. So very similar. I think the only thing that changes in terms of I/O is swapping a full-size SD for a micro SD. So obviously with this guy, we step up to the 240 watt power adapter, and then that sends you the other important signal, which is, okay, with 240 watts, we probably have different RTX options. And you do. In the 16-inch model, we're looking at Intel chips up to the Intel Core Ultra 9 185H. There's actually quite a few RTX options you can configure in here depending on the price point you want to go for. You can get the 4090, 4080, 70, 60, or 50. The other difference, if you spec the 70 or below, is you'll receive a 200-watt power adapter instead of the 240. So this display also OLED and 240 hertz capable, but slightly fewer pixels at 2560 by 1600, but I think a lot of people are going to be fine with that trade-off considering we're at 240. This gives you an even larger trackpad. That is a huge trackpad. Now I'll give you a quick comparison here. It might not be as obvious if you didn't have these right beside each other, but obviously if you do, you can tell just how much bigger that gets. The keyboard, on the other hand, stays very similar. Speaker grills get larger, and obviously the display grows as well. Now the other difference here, 2 terabyte SSD storage compared to 1. And you can configure this model without OLED at a different price point, obviously. So bigger laptop, but very similar keyboard behavior. I think the keyboard is almost identical between the two. Slightly different sound. RGB backlit, exactly what you expect. Slim bezel. Slimmest along the sides. You have a little bit more room up top, obviously, in order to fit in your webcam. So kind of a tough choice. It really depends what you want to prioritize. Obviously, we have some difference in specs, but they're both going to be extremely capable, and I think portability is going to come into play if you want the lighter weight package that can maybe go a few more places. Like this thing is really light at 1.5 kilos, or if you want that slightly more immersive, larger display, and if you really want 240 hertz. This is where you're going to configure the slash lighting, as it's called, on the back of these devices. So it's inside of Armory Crate. In here, you can choose your favorite lighting effects. You can edit it yourself, so it can be completely unique. So there's a few different presets and different themes as well. And there's a dark mode to turn it off. You can adjust the brightness. Oh, you've also got something called Sonic Match, which is actually going to match the lighting to the sound.
Every sound.
All right, so a couple observations. We have a little bit of fan noise now, obviously. We're running off the power brick as well, so the battery is charging, which obviously has an effect as well. Of course, with a gaming laptop, while gaming, you're probably gonna have a headset on, although in this case, we were using the speakers, and that was fine. It was drowning out a lot of the fan as well. Main thing, 240 hertz, crazy smooth, beautiful OLED display, and with max settings there on Overwatch, we were achieving over 200 frames. So a very sleek and minimal gaming laptop in a couple of different flavors. You have the G14 and the G16. One's a little bit lighter, one's got a slightly better GPU and some beefier configurations, and one's gonna take up less space in your bag. Either can work as your main laptop, your work laptop, and then do your gaming on the side without looking like over the top or out of place in the workplace. Let me know down in the comments, which would you choose of these two? Would you go for the G16, bigger display, better options for graphics cards, or would you go for the G14, still with OLED and tons of pixels, and you've still got RTX, but the entire package is 1.5 kilos? Like, this is light for a gaming laptop.